Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm your host Sami Higab, and I just wanted to say greeting of peace to everyone. Muslims, non-Muslims, Jews, Christians, whatever you believe in, you're entitled to your own free will. There's no compulsion in way of life, so we respect all human life. Now, I want to do a reaction video. It's a very recent interview from Piers Morgan Talk TV. Like you've seen, he did a talk interview with brother Muhammad Hijab, and then there were others as well as the Israeli ambassador. Today, he did an interview with the Palestinian ambassador, and I didn't actually watch the video, so I didn't see it live. I was quite busy today, so I am watching it as you are watching it. Maybe you already watched it before, but you might want to be interested in hearing my reaction to it and the evidence that brought forward. So let's just see how it goes. So let's get started, inshallah. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause the mic so it doesn't interfere. Sorry, my microphone so it doesn't interfere.
Palestinian Ambassador to the UK, Husam Zomlot. Ambassador, thank you very much indeed for coming in. I do appreciate you taking the time, particularly at a time like this, to come to the studio. You were very active on Twitter from the moment that this hospital was hit. You said it's a massacre. Hundreds are killed in an Israeli strike on the hospital. Hundreds of medical staff taking refuge. How long will it take to stop these atrocious war crimes? You then said waiting for UK government condemnation of this atrocious act of mass murder after being directly hit by an Israeli airstrike. And you carried on when Keir Starmer said the scenes of hundreds killed at the hospital in Gaza are devastating, can't be justified, international law must be upheld, but didn't mention Israel. You said, why can't you condemn this? Why is it so hard for someone with a background in human rights law? Is it because the victims are Palestinian? So you were in no doubt last night. This was an Israeli airstrike. And yet, I watched the BBC News this evening. They did an extensive investigation of everything that's available at the moment by their Verify unit, specifically designed to cut through any partisan rhetoric and get to reality. And based on circumstantial evidence, as they said, but the clear conclusion of that investigation is it's far more probable that this was actually fired from within Gaza. It was a misfire and it landed in the car park next to the hospital. And they cite, for example, the crater is tiny by comparison to the kind of crater you would see from a conventional Israel missile, and so on. What is your response to that? Have you changed your...
Just want to give a quick point on that. First of all, the hospital, as well as other hospitals, they did receive warnings minutes before the strike from the IDF saying that they need to evacuate the hospital immediately because they're about to take out some targets, basically drop a massive bomb on the hospital. And this was actually very unrealistic for them to get out in a very limited amount of time that they were given. And therefore, unfortunately, a lot of people died. A lot of innocent civilians, a lot of children in incubators, a lot of medical staff, because they couldn't just abandon their patients, and so on. So it was definitely done by the IDF. It wasn't picked up by the IDF that there is a missile in the air or missile launched. And it was a strike, direct strike on the hospital, to cause as much damage as possible. And this is not from me or the Palestinians or even the survivors, but this is directly from the IDF. They didn't deny the strike came from them. Only afterwards they started coming up with them bogus claims that it was a misfire of some rocket and so on. Let's put things in perspective. The weapons that the Gazans freedom fighters use are very primitive compared to the weapons supplied from the West, from America, and so on. The 2-ton bombs that drop on buildings to cause complete and utter destruction. So yeah, definitely it's not something that came from the resistance that are trying to liberate the land of Palestine and remove the apartheid state, the apartheid Zionist terrorist state. Yeah, so it's definitely not them. It's very clear on that. And therefore, they wouldn't have got a warning if it was someone else. You wouldn't get a warning saying to them, oh, by the way, we're just about to bomb your hospital. You've got about a few minutes, you know. We're giving you 5 minutes to evacuate completely before we drop a massive bomb on you or do an airstrike on your building, on the hospital. Which is a crime, according to all levels of humanity and from all aspects of international law. It's a crime against humanity. It's a war crime. That's exactly what they committed. But they know no bounds when they commit a crime against humanity, because no one takes them to account. They believe that they're above the law. So shame on you, Keir Starmer. I can't call you Sir Keir Starmer in this case. Shame on you, Rishi Sunak. And shame on you, Piers Morgan, for making such claims. Let's see what the ambassador has to say about it. I told you I didn't watch this before, so this is my... I don't know if he is going to say exactly the same thing as me or not, or maybe he'll have a different proof against this false allegation.
For absolute conviction that this is an Israeli airstrike?
Before I answer your question, Piers, today is the first day of our national mourning for the killing of hundreds of innocent people. And in memory of those hundreds of doctors, nurses, medical staff, patients, cancer patients, patients with kidney failures, children, innocent people who took refuge in a Baptist-sponsored hospital. The Anglican. In memory of all of those who were killed last night, allow me to have a moment of silence. Now back to your question. This very same hospital, the Baptist Ahli Hospital of Gaza, was bombarded only 2 days before last night by the Israeli airstrike. And they recognized that. This very same hospital was designated by Israel as a place to be evacuated. This very same hospital, the director of it was called by the Israeli occupation authorities asking him to evacuate all patients en masse.
But that's not my question.
No. I'm answering your question and allow me to answer.
My question is, are you still as sure as you were last night?
I'm answering your question. I believe the Archbishop of Jerusalem, when he condemns the Israeli airstrike, I don't believe the Israeli mouthpieces and spokespeople. They lie more than they breathe. And their record is very clear. Number three. You think groups in Gaza have such precision and firepower? Really?
Well, I don't think it was precise.
Seriously?
That's the point. If you look at the
it was.
If you look at the Ambassador, with respect, if you look at the BBC,
if
you look at the BBC investigation,
it was.
They include footage which seems to show a rocket misfiring. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. There's no sound. You see it go up, and then you see a ball of fire, and it looks like, and this was the BBC's conclusion, based again on circumstantial evidence, that this was fired from within Gaza. It misfired. It then landed in the car park next to the hospital. All I ask you this, Ambassador.
Yes, I am an ambassador. I'm an official, and I tell you with certainty, this was an Israeli airstrike.
Where's your evidence?
I have the evidence, and you will see the evidence.
But where is it?
I'll tell you what's my evidence. My evidence is that we are calling for the Red Cross to come and investigate this, and for the ICC. And until now, the Red Cross has the responsibility at such war crimes. Who's blocking the Red Cross? Anyway, we have very strong civil society. human rights organizations on the ground. We are communicating with them. Tomorrow you will hear from everybody.
And you believe you will produce evidence that it was Israeli?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Why would the American ambassador?
The question, Piers,
let me ask you this.
Don't ask me about the Americans. The Americans.
Why would the President of the United States say that his own independent investigation by his own people, i.e. not the intelligence given to him by the Israelis, that has also established it came from within Gaza?
Is that a serious question, Piers? Really? You think the Americans are...
You think he's lying, President Biden?
Yes, he is lying. He is lying. And he is part of...
That's a big charge to make about the President of the United States.
He has just lied.
Piers Morgan, if you're not aware that all the world leaders, all governments officials, all politicians are perpetual liars, especially Biden. He's been caught out several times. It's not like his first lie. It's not like something that's just a accidental statement. He is a perpetual liar. I have to give it to Donald Trump. At least he speaks the truth. He speaks his heart. Whether I agree with him or not, we can always agree to disagree, but you shouldn't lie. You should always tell the truth. And unfortunately, Joe Biden and the Biden family in general, his son, they're known to be perpetual liars. Okay, so you cannot deny this. You cannot try to argue your point here, Piers Morgan. You're making yourself a fool yet again. If someone's threatened you for some ways for you to talk this BS all the time and come up with all this nonsense and try to defend something that's clearly a lie, or you are not a sincere individual. I'd like to believe that you are sincere, Piers Morgan. So you have to be fair. Joe Biden is known as a perpetual liar, even within his own community, even in America. No one trusts him. You have to be a complete numpty to trust Joe Biden in these cases. Anyway, I'll let the ambassador deal with the rest. Sorry for interjecting. I had to speak out. I'm sorry I had to do this. It's ridiculous what these people are doing.
Before getting any evidence. There is no way...
No, he's seen evidence.
I don't know if he's seen evidence.
But he said he has.
He doesn't have personnel. If he has personnel, he must provide protection for our civilians. Then he is complicit in the crimes against
When you see that video, what do you think you're... What do you think you're seeing, Ambassador?
It's whitewashing and gaslighting, as we have been seeing over decades.
What if you're wrong?
And well, what if I am wrong? Bring me again here, okay?
Okay.
Bring me again here, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay.
No one has such firepower except the Israeli.
But have you seen the crater? Have you seen the crater?
Army, and you know what? No one even in the region has such firepower.
Have you seen?
Very sophisticated.
Have you seen the crater?
I have seen. I have.
Does that crater not tell you it was not an Israeli airstrike?
This is the trick. I'll tell you what happened. Israel did it. Israel thought the world was giving it the green light, that it was okay to do so. But when we did it, they did not expect the outcry, and then they did it again as they do all the time.
Why is the crater so small?
As they do all the time, they simply go out and deny it, blur the lines. 2 stories, we don't know. And I will remind you, few weeks from now or few months, Israel will come out and admit it. But it will be too late. They will not get the condemnation.
I don't think they will.
They will admit it, as they did in the past. In the past, they have denied many things.
Have you seen, out of interest, have you seen the BBC Verify investigation? Did you watch that tonight?
You know, the BBC is to be blamed for part of this.
Why?
Because the BBC just ran one day before that Hamas digs tunnels underneath hospitals. Primarily speaking, instigating the Israeli IDF, another indication that they did it, that they should go after hospitals, which is a war crime, as you know, very well defined. Now, what is the issue here? What is the main issue here? Is that all these lies that have been happening over the years are not challenged by you, Piers. You and all the mainstream.
Well, that's completely untrue.
No, it is true.
All that says to me is you've never seen me on air.
I have seen you.
Well,
I have seen your interview.
You saw me for years as CNN.
I have seen your interview.
You've seen me interview Netanyahu twice.
I have seen your interview just a few days ago with the Israeli ambassador. She did say here on this seat, that they provided the whole south of Gaza as a safe zone, and they are building shelters to Palestinian civilians. She told you that.
And I said
Did you challenge her?
I said that.
Did you challenge her?
I challenged her like this.
No, you did not challenge her.
Let
you did not challenge her. Let me tell you, my sister.
Your point.
No. I'll tell you, my sister.
She denied there was a humanitarian crisis.
She did.
I said there was.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No.
Piers Morgan, I watched the show. I have it on record. I've actually downloaded the whole episode. And you did not. You was a yes man. Whatever she said, she was justifying killing innocent civilians, and you saying, "Oh yeah, that sounds great. That's amazing. Wow, that's just a brilliant idea." You know, I'm a mother. All she was going on about, she's a mother. She started talking about Manchester. She started talking about Hitler. She started talking about the Holocaust. What's that got to do with the current conflict? What's that got to do anything with 100 years of oppression, 100 years of terrorist acts on the native populace of Palestine? What's that got to do with ethnic cleansing? Please answer me. I know you're not going to watch my reaction. I'm just a nobody. I'm just a small man in a speck in the whole world. I'm not a celebrity or anything. I'm just a simple man. I've done a number of degrees, but, you know, many years of experience, decade experience in the financial sector, entrepreneur, business owner, tax exile even, you know, whatever, but still I'm a nobody. I'm nothing more than a servant of God. That's who I am. Not a high value man or any of these people that you bring on, or a fake guru. But I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm speaking the truth here. You should watch yourself when you're conducting interviews with far rights, with Nazis, with terrorists that you bring on the show. And then you judge for yourself. Watch yourself and you judge for yourself. When you're with someone like, you know, politicians who are lying through their teeth, or an ambassador such as what's her name, Tzipi, the ambassador of Israel. She should zip it up. That's what I'll say. Zip it up, Tzipi. And she was telling you all sorts of nonsense that she needs to sacrifice another ethnic group. She was promoting her ethnic cleansing ideology, her racist ideology, her Nazi-inspired ideology on your program, and you were saying, "Oh yeah, you have every right to do that. You have every right to defend yourself." Defend what? Defend racism? Defend fascism? Defend the Nazis? I'm sure all the people that suffered during the Holocaust, they'll be embarrassed of her. They'll be ashamed of her. All the Jews that have suffered in the past, they'll be ashamed of her. Because if she knows anything about history, she would know that they were under the protection of the Muslims. When they were persecuted elsewhere, they sought refuge with Arabs, Middle Easterners, North Africans, Muslims. The Muslims protected them. They were never persecuted amongst Arabs, Muslims, because we see them as our brothers. Brothers in faith, brothers through Abraham, same father. In fact, Piers Morgan, you're also my brother in humanity, because we all originated from Adam. We shouldn't discriminate against each other. At this very moment, I am angry with you because you're speaking lies. You're just a spokesman of your master, your Nazi master, your fascist master, Zionist terrorist master. You're just a spokesman. You don't give a balanced view. If anyone that doesn't agree with your agenda, your racist ideology that you're promoting on your program, you speak over them like you did with Muhammad Hijab and Bassem Youssef and all the other decent human beings that came on your program. I'm not saying to you, you're only bringing a terrorist on your program, like the ambassador, who's promoting ethnic cleansing, who's glorifying killing innocent civilians and killing innocent children. And she said this is a price that she has to pay to make her children happy, as if her children asked her, "Mummy, mummy, you know, we want to see some blood today. go massacre some innocent children, go massacre and ethnically cleanse Palestinians, innocent civilians, and she did it for the sake of her children. Absolute nonsense, Piers Morgan. When are you going to realize that you're supporting the wrong side? You're supporting the wrong team. You're on the side of the terrorists, the state-sponsored terrorists. You need to change your attitude, Piers Morgan. I can see deep down you're a good man because you have Irish heritage. I respect the Irish. I love the Irish. But I don't know, something went wrong, mate. Something went wrong. You're being brain trashed by the British. Perhaps that's what the reason is. Don't do it for money. Just speak the truth. Doesn't matter about if you lose a program or if you speak truth and you stand up for the truth and justice, you'll respect yourself. You'll be able to sleep at night knowing you spoke up for truth. You stood up for human rights. Don't stand up for racism. Don't be a racist. You're not a redneck like these Ku Klux Klan and Joe Biden and all the others that promotes racist ideology. You're not like them. So let's continue watching anyway. Sorry I had to air my opinion here because I enjoy watching this. MashaAllah, Barakallah fi the ambassador. The ambassador's doing a fantastic job. The answers that he's given is just arrows, man. It's just going straight to the heart. It makes I support him 100% Everything he said is so accurate. And even if he doesn't have the evidence to prove everything just now, he told you, give him 2 weeks, give him a few months. Even the enemies of Allah, the army of Satan, the servants and slaves of Satan, they will admit their crimes. Because they have arrogance. They always do. They always come out and say, we did it. We enjoyed massacring, raping, torturing other human beings. They always come up because it's something that they feel proud of. They feel proud that they committed a crime. They boast about their crime. Right now, they're kind of hush-hush about it. They're trying to manipulate the truth. But yeah, soon they'll come up. They'll expose themselves. Just like those criminals, they commit a crime and they film it. And then they boast it and they kind of because they celebrate it and they show it to their friends and it eventually becomes viral and people start to see the orchestrators and the criminals, and that's how they get caught. Because they feel proud what they did, the crime that they did, the murder, the massacre, the torture they committed. So they broadcast it to the world and they expose themselves. And that's how the authorities find out about it. Exactly the same. I'm with the ambassador 100% on this. And the truth will come out. Because you know something, Piers Morgan? The truth always outshines falsehood. Just remember that. Truth always outshines falsehood. Evil prevails when good people stay silent. So if you're a good man and you're silent about this, you're just perpetrating the crime. You are indirectly a criminal. You're siding with the Nazis. You're siding with the terrorist Zionists. And Zionism, if you didn't even know, it was built and inspired by an atheist, someone that was inspired by Hitler and ethnic cleansing and creating a superior race, which is absolute nonsense. It's the very essence of racism. When you claim there is a superior race and an inferior race, everybody else is subhuman, by calling other human beings as human animals, by calling other civilians as sewage rats. You should never describe other human beings as animals or anything disgusting like these people do, which shows their agenda. They're trying to ethnically cleanse the whole human race, and they think that they're all going to survive on the planet. They think they are entitled to life and everybody else don't deserve to live. God gave us life and only He can take life away. It's a trust for us. And like I said before, we all originated from Adam. We're all brothers and sisters, irrespective if you're a Jew, Indian, African, Arab. Doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. Because ultimately, we came from the same father, Adam, same mother. We're all one big family. We all have our traits and attributes. We all have our vulnerabilities and strengths, challenges, vices, whatever you want to call it. And we're supposed to be serving others. Service to many leads to greatness. Looking for people that are less fortunate than us and trying to bring them up. Not despise other people. Not step on people. We're supposed to be helping out, reaching out, paying it forward. Making this world a better place for everyone. We all value each other, and together everyone achieves more. Just remember that, Piers Morgan. You can use it. I'm not going to claim any copyright if you use some of the ideas that I'm sharing with you. And these ideas are not even mine. They came from God, because that's what God taught us. Allah, the one true God. That's what He taught us. That we should respect each other. He told us in the Quran, we created you from a single pair of male and female and made you into nations of tribe. So you can recognize each other. You're supposed to appreciate our diversity, not discriminate against our differences. And the best of us are the ones who are best in conduct. Those who are more beneficial in society, Piers Morgan. The more someone is beneficial, contributes to society, making the world a better place, that's how he raises up in rank. Not based on skin color, creed, gender, or anything else. Your creed, only God will judge it. There's no compulsion in religion. There's no compulsion way of life. You have every right to practice your way of life as you feel like. No one has a right to tell you how to live your life. You decide what's good for your life. As long as you don't harm another human being. You don't cross the boundary of someone else's life. You don't tell people to be a carbon copy of yourself and claim they are savages and you are now trying to civilize the world like the British colonial power and the French, spreading their false ideologies to the world. We need to learn to respect each other, Piers Morgan. And we can have peace. We can coexist together. Even though we might be enemies today on the battlefield, tomorrow we can be friends. We can be intimate friends. We can cooperate. We could all change. So we can have peace. It doesn't have to go on like this forever. We can change. But we have to stamp out racism from society. We need to stamp out these Nazi ideologies, these fascist ideologies, this concept of white supremacists, reducing the world population through eugenics. That's what we need to do. These are the challenges that we have to tackle together, Piers Morgan. Not through ethnic cleansing or genocide. That's not going to solve anything. Hate breeds hate. And we can't fight racism with more racism. That's not the solution. You're just going to breed more hate. You're going to fuel the fire. We have to put out the fire, not put more fuel in the fire. I hope it's clear, Piers Morgan. I'm not sure if you understand what I'm saying or not. I hope you have a heart and you feel my words and you understand exactly what I mean. Because we can have peace, but we all need to change. Every single one of us needs to change. We're all at a different level in our journey. We need to cooperate and help each other to do good. Help each other and support each other to promote goodness in the world. Not harm others. Let's continue.
You didn't.
Yes, I did.
You started that conversation with her with showing an outpouring emotions, good for you.
Yes.
About the mothers. Why didn't you start with me about the thousands of mothers, grandmothers?
I literally read that.
With me.
Well, Ambassador.
This is the asymmetry. This is the asymmetry.
Ambassador.
That she lied.
There's no asymmetry.
She lied with you.
Let me be clear.
And she said that the south of Gaza is safe. You know how many people were killed in the south of Gaza only in the last 48 hours? You know that my sister now, she lives in the south of Gaza.
I know.
And you're following my Twitter. Look at my nephew, Ammar.
I saw it.
You saw Ammar.
Yes.
You saw what happened to Ammar.
Yes.
They live in the south. So an Israeli official sits here and tells the world that the south of Gaza is safe and people should go there en masse, therefore ethnically cleansing these people to the south to actually slaughter them. And then you, Piers, do not look her in the eye and tell her, stop lying. I was on the BBC Sunday morning just a couple of days ago with the foreign secretary and others. Before me was another Israeli mouthpiece, spokesperson, Mark Regev. He said, we did not and will not target any hospitals. They lie all the time.
Yes, but just to be clear, on the hospital, there is a clear circumstantial set of evidence, which has been established now by the BBC, by the independent verify unit. They don't have any skin in this.
You think that was the first time Israel targets a hospital, Piers? Really?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about last night's atrocity, which is what it is, because hundreds of people have died. There remains a massive question mark over whether Israel had anything to do with it.
What about the other 2,800?
Well, let me come to this. All right.
I'm sorry for interjecting again. Come on, Piers Morgan, you can't be real. You can't be that stupid, mate. You can't be that dumb. You can't be that blind. When did the BBC say any facts? They're full of lies. No fact checking. It's all BS. The BBC's known for lying. It's the mouthpiece for the government. And the government's always pushing their own agenda. So whatever the government wants you to believe, that's what they push out. They manipulate the truth to serve their agenda. So come on, you're supposed to be much more mature than this. You don't just believe lies just because, oh yeah, because I said so, it must be the truth. And you say, oh yes, the BBC said it, it's divine. BBC's divine. It's not. It's false propaganda, fake news. You're supposed to verify it yourself, not to rely on someone else that tells you, trust me, mate. I said it. I said they didn't do it, so therefore they didn't do it. And that's the facts. These are my sources. You couldn't even answer any of the questions that Mohammed Hijab put forward to you. You couldn't even answer a single one. You didn't consider any of his questions to say, okay, I'm going to answer this question. He asked you 20 questions and you didn't say, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to answer the 19 questions. I'm going to answer just that one question, honestly, from your end. You didn't do that. You were just regurgitating the same garbage that's said on the mainstream without any fact checking. And now just because you're saying you heard it on the BBC, everyone's supposed to say, whoa, okay, it's divine. It came from the heaven. You heard God say it. The voice of God came down. Everyone heard it. And the BBC checked it. Oh, yeah, it's the voice of God. So it must be true. BS. And this is not the first time. And it's nonsense. Even Bassem Youssef, when he was on your program, he said, okay, let's assume, that you're saying that Hamas is the enemy. Fine. Why is there 7,000 people killed in the West Bank? There's no Hamas there. No resistance there. And every day, day in, day out, for the past 100 years, Israeli troops, these Nazis, these terrorists, they're using Palestinians for target practice. I have friends in Gaza, injured, not from last week or the week before, months ago when there was complete silence. While they're living inside Gaza, surrounded by walls, they're being shot at and they did not even retaliate. Imagine you have guards around the wall and you're living in this open prison and every day you go out to work, taking your kids to school, doing whatever, and then you get hit by a bullet. And you look up and you see this Nazi on the tower laughing away. It's like a practical joke. And by then, you lose a leg, you lose a limb, no law. These Zionist Nazis are above the law, never get charged, no justice ever served. Women get raped, kidnapped, organ harvesting. So many sick things that happen to the Palestinians. They use as guinea pigs to experiment drugs on them. No justification at all. All it is just because they were born from different parents. They were born native to the land. And the Zionists and the Nazis and these terrorists that are heads of state, that are recognized as a democratic country, recognized as the legitimate state by other terrorist states around the world. Just because they support them, everyone thinks they're legitimate. No one's brave enough to say the truth. What's wrong with us? How could we live as cowards? It's better to die fighting as brave men and women than to stay silent like cowards. And this is why I lose respect for you, Piers Morgan. Because I believe that you know the truth. But you're too much of a coward to speak up. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. Tell me one fact. Speak up for one truth. Defend the truth. You never do. You always manipulate the truth. You're only thinking about this. The money, the dosh. You sold your soulmate like Jordan Peterson and the other scumbags out there. You can't be talking for real, mate. It's very clear. It's very clear this was a terrorist attack from these Nazis, Zionist state that taxpayers are supporting indirectly. People that are paying taxes, that is what they're funding. These bombs, these missiles, killing innocent civilians. Shame. Shame on the British government. Shame on the soldiers killing other innocent civilians. Following Netanyahu to the grave, because that's what he's doing. He's going to kill and sacrifice his own citizens in Israel for his political gain. There's going to be more of a massacre once they do a ground invasion. They'll fall right into the Gaza trap. Believe you me. They'll be humiliated and their faces will be sour. And it'll be all over. They'll be defeated on the battlefield. But you know, they might delay it a little bit because they are a bunch of cowards. They can never fight hand to hand. They have to hide behind a computer screen. Like they're playing some computer game. They can't handle it. They can't even handle seeing the victims and the suffering of other human beings. They have to hide their face. That's the reality, Piers Morgan. If you like it or not, that's the truth. But you can't handle the truth, can you? Let's continue.
What about the other 2008?
Let's come to this. So I want to take you back to October the 7th, because you were very quick last night when you believed it was an Israeli airstrike that had committed this horror, which had killed several hundred people. We're not entirely sure of the exact death toll yet, but certainly hundreds of people appear to have died. You were very quick to demand that everyone from Keir Starmer to others publicly condemn what had happened.
Of course.
So let me take you back.
Of course.
Well, hang on. Let me take you back to October the 7th.
Don't play this.
No, I'm not playing anything.
No, don't play this. Don't play this.
If you are in the...
No, what I wanted...
Ambassador, let me finish my question.
Okay. I know where you're going.
Well,
but I want to explain.
I don't think it takes a genius to work out where I'm going.
I wanted them to...
I know exactly where you're going, Piers Morgan. I can read... I'm 10 steps ahead of you, mate. So it's okay for you to come up with some BS stories about babies being beheaded, about rape victims, about kidnapping, about killing innocent civilians, about kidnapping and hostages and all that BS that you share on the media, which now is proven to be absolute fabrication and false lies. According to who? According to, even to the IDF, according even to the White House. They've retracted all these statements that were made, false allegations. But because it serves your false narrative, you continually push it out there, you continually promote it, and you don't even apologize to the lies that you've made. You made the claim that what's his name, Ben Shapiro, didn't call Palestinians as son of a bitches, and say that they need to kill them all and ethnically cleanse. He didn't say all these statements. He didn't call them animals and all that stuff. He didn't say about the 40 babies being beheaded. He said no one said that. No one said anything like that. And it's proven from the interviews that you've made. He did mention these things. I got copies of the interviews. And even he tweeted about it. So throughout different mediums or media channels, whether it's on tweets, written evidence, verbal evidence, photographic evidence against Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and others have made that false allegation, false claims, and you continually pushing it out there. Even you've said it yourself. And you said that there are pictures and they've seen the pictures and no one's seen any of this nonsense pictures. The only pictures they've seen are like cartoon pictures, fabricated pictures, AI generated pictures. They don't even do a good job in fabricating. Had they came to me, I could have told them how to fabricate a picture, at least to create a good quality image. I could have helped them out a little bit, but I wouldn't serve them. I'm just having a joke. I'm being sarcastic because they're so unprofessional. They were doing such a rush job. They created some really bad, terrible, fake evidence. They could have done a better job. They could have spent a little bit of time hiring an artist to fabricate a real, difficult to spot pictures and videos. The only evidence that we have in thousands of evidence of genocide, ethnic cleansing is coming from the Palestinians, because they've been suffering that for past 100 years, and more so 75 years since the establishment of the terrorist state of Israel. Now, we have nothing wrong with the word Israel, because that's the name of a prophet anyway, and the descendants of that prophet are called children of Israel. So we have nothing wrong with it. The word Israel is in the Quran as well, Bani Israel. We have nothing wrong with it. We see them as our brothers. We see Moses as a brother. All the prophets are brothers to one and to another. We have no distinction from one prophet to another. We don't have any distinction between any ethnic group. We see all ethnic groups and all people are equal. We don't discriminate, because that is Islam. Now you need to study Islam, Piers Morgan, before you start interviewing Muslims or Arabs or Middle Easterners or other ethnic groups. You need to do a little bit of education, do a little bit of background research, read, study. Don't buy this garbage that you're being fed all the time and just regurgitate the same spin until you get caught out. And then you start denying it. You start to reverse back and start denying all your lies and stuff that you pushed out. So I feel very sorry for you, Piers Morgan. How could you fall for such bullshit? I'm sorry to say these words, but I mean, how could you fall for it? You know, even children wouldn't fall for it. Even a 5-year-old wouldn't fall for the crap that you fall for, mate. This is pathetic. You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to all the nations, all the human race. You're an embarrassment, Piers Morgan. Shame on you, my friend. Let's continue anyway.
me ask a question first.
Okay.
Then you can respond, please.
Okay.
Okay? My question is this. You're very, very keen to demand that political leaders, including Sir Keir Starmer here, publicly condemn an attack on a hospital which may not have been Israel, right? And you repeated that throughout your evening on Twitter, right?
That's true.
But what you are not prepared to do yourself as the ambassador to the UK, because I've checked your Twitter feed and you've not done this, and to my knowledge you've not done this in public, you're not prepared to condemn Hamas for the slaughter of 1,400 innocent people in Israel on October the 7th. So I give you the chance, given that you want others to condemn acts that kill people, even if they're not responsible, given that Hamas have brazenly admitted responsibility for what they did, are you prepared to condemn it?
Piers, you know, this game and this narrative...
It's not a game.
It's a game, it's a game, it's a game.
Why?
I'll tell you
why. Should you demand condemnation of people dying, but not be prepared to condemn it yourself?
Allow me to explain it to you and to your viewers why it is a game, and a very vicious, unfair, asymmetric game that has contributed to the oppression of my people for 100 years. Number one, you know our position. You know that Hamas is just a militant group that was created 20, 30 years ago.
You think they're terrorists?
You asked me this question? Okay. What is the definition of terrorism?
Well, I'll just ask you,
what
you think
is the definition of terrorism?
The UK government,
I'll give you the
UK government
I'll give you the definition.
Has them as a prescribed
Piers, I'll give you the
Say, are you real, Piers? Are you real? I mean, honestly, I'm lost for words. I've never seen such an idiot, a pathetic human being like you. Are you real? You want to look for terrorist, a definition of terrorism? Look at what Israel's doing. Look at what they're perpetrating for the past 100 years. Look at their manifesto, their agenda. When they're claiming they're a superior race and everybody else don't deserve to live, that's the very definition of a racist. That's the very definition of a cult. They started off as a terrorist group. It's not about you or me saying this is terrorist and these are freedom fighters. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. You should know that. What are you saying, Piers? I'm lost for words. I couldn't imagine how dumb you are. I'm sorry, mate. I have to say this. You know, you are pathetic. You're a pathetic human being for saying what you're saying right now. Not about the British government. You know, the British government goes in Africa and start massacring, enslaving other human beings, abusing other human beings, stealing resources. They're not the savior. They're not trying to go and civilize the world. Africans are far more and were far more civilized than the British Empire. You guys went out there and raped their land and resources. They were living like wealthy billionaires. They were kings in Africa. And you went in there massacring and stealing. Group of thugs, criminals. And this is why you cannot recognize that Israel is a criminal. Because you are criminals. And I'm telling you this, and also I am part British. And I've already mentioned it before. But it's a real shame. It's a real shame on you. You're a shame and a disgrace to the whole entire human race, Piers Morgan. It's probably because of your stupid education that you received from these racists. You've been brain trashed from childhood. Please, mate, don't let me insult you anymore, man. I don't like insulting people. You're just forcing me to lose my temper. You're making me angry. I don't like people that are idiots like this. Come on, give the guy a chance. Listen to him. He's giving you a clear definition. But you're so prejudiced in your heart you don't even want to listen. Listen to his answer. Think about it. Process it up here. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak, my friend. God, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. How can you be so stupid, mate?
international United Nations definition of terrorism. It is the unlawful use of violence against civilians to terrorize them for the sake of a political agenda. Agreed? Agreed? Unlawful violence against civilians. Do you, and answer me please.
Well, no, I've asked you a question.
Do you consider Israel to be a
Ambassador,
to be,
with respect, I'm asking you
a terrorist
questions.
state? Do you consider Israel to be a terrorist
Ambassador,
state?
if you won't answer me,
why should I
answer
the question?
Did we agree? Did we
Piers,
agree on
answer the question.
terrorism?
I've asked you, is Hamas a terror group?
Israel has been targeting civilians in front of your eyes for 75 years.
But why should I answer any of your questions if you won't answer mine?
Deliberate targeting, and not just this round.
Because you never answer his questions.
You know all that happened. 2,500.
I'm very aware of the history.
Okay, then you
I've been very critical of Israel over the years.
Is Israel a terrorist state?
I'm asking you the question.
Is Israel a terrorist state?
Ambassador.
Well, this is the asymmetry.
Ambassador.
Answer me and I'll answer you about Hamas.
Piers Morgan, is very easy. You could just answer that question. Very easy. You could say yes or no. What's difficult about that? Just say yes or no. You're entitled to your own opinion, but at least be a man and just answer the effing question. Stop being a coward. No one's holding us like a gun on your head and telling you you avoid answering these questions. Just answer the question. Speak from your heart. Use your brain. Process. Use your brain for once in your life, mate. And answer the question. Just answer one question, mate. Ask you a very easy question. A closed-ended question. It's not even an open question. You don't have to try to speak a lot. You could just say yes or no answer. It's that easy. I hope you answer the question. I didn't watch the interview before, but I'm hoping that Piers Morgan would be man enough to answer that question directly.
No, it's not how this works.
No, it is.
It's my show.
It is.
And you're a guest on my show.
It is. From now on, this is the way it works.
Okay,
but there has to be equity and
Ambassador,
symmetry.
You are the ambassador to the United Kingdom.
We are equal. I'll ask you a question.
You are the ambassador.
I am, proudly so. Proudly so. I'll ask you a question.
And you've been here, I think, since 2018.
Yes.
You've been ambassador for 5 years,
yes,
right?
and I was in the US before.
Right, and the UK government has Hamas identified as a prescribed terror group. Do you agree with that?
That's the UK business.
You don't agree?
No. This is not about me agreeing or agreeing. I'd like the UK to designate the Kahanist in the Israeli government as a terrorist group.
You may want other groups designated.
As a terrorist group. I want to see
But as the Palestinian ambassador, do you disagree with Hamas being prescribed as a terror group?
Get my point. Please, get my point. I want to see equal treatment, and I will accept the equal rules. If these rules are applied on the Israelis, I would raise my hand and accept it.
Okay.
I will put my hand on my heart.
Let me say this to you.
Do you consider Israel to be a terrorist state?
Let me say this to you.
That's number one. Number two, I'll ask you, do you accept the UK? You asked me about the UK government. The UK designates Palestine as the occupied Palestinian territory, right? OPT. We are occupied. Do you accept that designation?
Well, it's an interesting question about occupation, isn't it?
That's your government.
I think the Palestinians have lived in a very repressive...
So it's not occupation?
Well, it's a repression, right?
What?
They are living.
You don't accept international.
They are living as repressed people. So, I have for years.
Oppressed by what?
Well, they're oppressed by Israel effectively keeping people trapped in Gaza, right? And they have the ability, as they've shown in the last few days, to turn on and off water, to turn on and off food supply. I think all this is wrong.
What about the West Bank?
Ambassador, I think it's all wrong. But let me just ask.
No. This is a major point.
You're not interviewing me.
Is it an occupation?
Ambassador, you're not interviewing me. What you're trying to do, if you don't mind me saying, you are distracting from my original question.
It's a conversation.
Respectfully, Ambassador.
It's a conversation.
I was interested that you last night were demanding that political leaders like Keir Starmer condemn a supposed attack by Israelis on a hospital, which now looks like it wasn't by Israelis. And I'm simply saying to you,
you keep repeating
if
this,
you want
parroting this,
Ambassador, let me finish my question.
How do you know it's not by Israelis?
I don't.
How do you know?
I don't.
So don't say it.
But nor do you.
I know what I'm saying. I represent the situation.
You do not know it was an Israeli airstrike.
You hold me accountable next time. You're neutral.
Okay.
You're neutral.
I am neutral.
I'm not neutral.
Okay, I get that.
So no.
Okay.
You are being biased.
That is honest of you.
You are taking the Israeli side.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I'm not saying.
You are following the cue from Israel.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You are following the cue, mate. You're a bullshitter. That's what you are. You're a sold out son of a bitch. That's what you are, Piers Morgan. You've disappointed me. You're complete rubbish. Your journalism is pathetic. Just answer the guy's question. You can't even be man enough to answer this question. He asked you a very simple question, yes or no answer. You couldn't even answer it. You couldn't even state the fact that the whole international community recognized Israel as an occupier and the Palestinians as occupied. And you can't even state the facts. So if you're talking about the British, see what the definition of what the British, and just say that. Maybe that memo didn't arrive to you yet. I don't know. But you're a complete loser, mate. You're a pathetic loser. It's not because you're on TV you're something special. You're a waste of space, mate. I don't know what is wrong with you, mate. I don't know. Why can't you just be a man and just say what you truly believe? And if you believe this bullshit, then you're a bullshitter.
Saying the BBC Verify unit has said tonight, do you think they're impartial in this or not?
They shouldn't.
They won't even call Hamas terrorists.
This is none of their business. This is the business of Karim Khan, the prosecutor.
I'm going to ask you one more time, and you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. It's entirely down to you. But given that last night you wanted people to condemn what happened last night, in your belief that it was an Israeli airstrike, and you were ferocious in demanding that repeatedly, will you now take the opportunity to condemn what Hamas did on October the 7th? I only ask you one more time.
22 Arab states convened at the beginning of this, including my state, my government, and they condemned.
Do you personally condemn it?
They condemned the killing of civilians from all sides.
Right.
You know what is
not all sides?
No, from all sides.
Do you condemn what happened on October the 7th? Why are you so reluctant to condemn it?
You asked.
You were the one last night demanding people condemn things.
I'll tell you why. I would be the first to condemn. If I ever saw you asking an Israeli official to condemn, did you ask the ambassador to condemn all the atrocities?
I will be asking.
I'll tell you.
I will be asking the representative of the ambassador.
No, you had the ambassador before me. You did not ask her to condemn.
You're a coward, Piers Morgan. You are a coward. You're a coward, Piers Morgan.
Let me ask you one more time.
I did.
Because I'm not sure if you heard my question.
I will not answer this question unless you allow me to explain.
No, that's fine. You don't have to answer it.
No, I'll tell you.
But if you're not going to answer it, don't demand that other people condemn things. No. And certainly don't ask me to condemn things. If you won't condemn 1,400 people being slaughtered.
Our position.
How can you not condemn what they did?
Our position is very clear. I represent the Palestinian leadership and people. I represent the PLO. That's the sole legitimate representation of the Palestinian people. President Mahmoud Abbas, the government. Hamas is not part of the government.
I know.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, that legitimate representation I represent have committed for 30 years for first non-violence and negotiations. I belong to that camp. You're asking the wrong person. Committed to international resolutions and committed to the recognition of Israel. We recognize the state of Israel long before anyone else. And we still waiting for Israel's recognition of us. And guess what happened in this 30 years? Every political avenue was blocked. Every legal avenue like the ICJ and the ICC is blocked. Every hope for any Palestinian is blocked. You are talking to a person who religiously believes in non-violence. So please don't ask me that question.
If you believe in non-violence, Ambassador, why are you reluctant? If you believe in non-violence,
that's why I picked diplomacy.
Why are you so reluctant
That's
to
why I
condemn
wanted to become an
the
ambassador,
worst
because
terror attack
I believe in the power. I believe in the power of diplomacy. I believe in the power of non-violence.
Okay.
I believe that we should always.
Piers Morgan, you're using the wrong examples. 9/11, Pearl Harbor, this whole thing, these are all false flag operations. It's proven now they're all false flag operations. What's wrong with you, mate? You know, grow some brain cells for a change. You're just being brain trashed by these Nazis and white fascists just because they look very similar. They look European, so you respect them. You feel more affinity with them. We're all human beings, mate. It goes against Islam, it goes against humanity to kill another human being, irrespective of their creed, their gender, their way of life. It's completely unacceptable. It's not accepted. We have to respect all human life. All human life matters. What is wrong with you in understanding that? Why are you saying 1,000 people killed is a tragedy and it's the worst terrorist act and it's the worst thing that's ever happened and all that nonsense? Yes, it's sad. It's absolutely wrong. I disagree with any human life. Killing is unacceptable. We all stand up against any forms of killing, any forms of violence. However, you need to be just as well. You need to also condemn the billions and millions of people that have died throughout history through extremist ideologies such as the Zionists. Their whole agenda is to ethnically cleanse all other races. They only see one race which is superior race. All the other races are inferior. They're subhuman. Why don't you condemn such ideologies? Why don't you condemn such terrorist organization? Why don't you condemn such cults? Why can't you even say you condemn the violence and killing and the millions of human lives that were lost because directly by the Zionists? The corruption, the famine, the exploitation of other human beings. Why can't you condemn these things? Why can't you condemn any of the actions that the Nazis performed on the Palestinians? Because that's what they are. They're one of the same coin, my friend. Nazi Zionism is exactly the same. It's like head or tails on a coin. And you're saying these Hamas, or call them whatever that you want, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, whatever their agenda is, they're all trying for the same agenda to liberate their land. They're fighting for their freedom. They're fighting for peace and recognition that they are human beings. That's what they're fighting for. It's exactly what the Scottish did when they fought the English. They wanted to liberate their land. They crossed their boundaries and they went in. And they destroyed castles in Scotland and destroyed so many things. And occupied the English. Exactly the same thing the English did to the Irish. Invaded Ireland. Occupied it. Imposed their rules on it. You shouldn't do that. You should respect everyone's boundaries. You can't just break into someone's home and claim that it's your home just because you have a lighter skin or you've got blue eyes and they've got brown eyes. You shouldn't discriminate against people's ethnicity. We're all human beings. We all have the right to live on this planet in peace and harmony. We can all coexist. There can be a peaceful resolution. We can all be friends. We don't have to live like this. We don't have to kill each other to gain dominance in the world. There's enough resources on planet Earth for everyone. We can all cooperate together to improve the quality of life for everyone. Without discrimination, without nationalism, without racism. Why can't you be a decent human being for once in your life, Piers Morgan? Why can't you stand up for truth and justice and human rights? Why can't you do that? What is so difficult about it? To condemn violence in general and say that I condemn all forms of violence against any forms of any people, any ethnic group. I condemn genocide. I condemn ethnic cleansing. What is wrong with you? Are you a coward? Oh, sorry. I already know you are a coward. You're a chicken, mate. You're a pathetic human being. I really do wish you grow up and you change, because I mean, I believe that everybody can change. You still have a chance, I mean, but right now, if you die in this state, you're a loser, mate. You're a loser. That's what you are. You're a loser. You're pathetic.
Is return and maintain the moral high ground. But that's why I am answering the way I'm answering.
Okay, I understand.
That's why I'm challenging you.
Okay,
because
understand.
The moment I accept your question is the moment I accept we are the instigators of violence. We are the aggressors. And I asked you the question before.
I actually didn't say that.
No.
I didn't say that to you.
I
understand you're not part of Hamas.
No. Not me only.
I understand
the entire Palestinian people are the instigators of violence.
I understand you're not.
The question.
I understand you're not
Let
Hamas.
Let me explain, Piers, please.
But I understand it.
Cool down. The moment I accept this logic of condemnation, in the lack of Israeli officials being asked by you and everybody else to condemn, that moment I accept that my people are lesser of a people, that we are not equal. that we are a lesser of children of a God.
And I don't believe that.
Okay, no, I think.
And
I
think Palestinian people are absolutely entitled to fairness and equality and human rights. Many of the things they've been deprived of for decades. I would love to see peace in the Middle East, but nobody can show me how what Hamas did on October the 7th has done anything for the Palestinian people other than set everything back and make peace even more unlikely.
The moment I see that equity, that balance, I'll be the first to use any word you want. But so long as there is this imbalance, this racism against Palestinians, this consideration of us of being, 1/5.
But I'm not racist against Palestinian people.
I think there are people who are racist. I think anti-Palestinianism is flourishing everywhere. I think we are seen as to be less of value than the Israeli lives.
Let me ask you
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you what.
Ambassador.
You brought me here. You're bringing everybody. This has been the focus of everyone. You have located your moral compass on the 7th of October.
No.
Did you locate your?
No.
Did you locate your moral compass?
All that says to me is.
Did you locate your moral compass
I
on
covered
the 200 people killed this year in the West Bank?
I've covered.
Did you bring me to
Ambassador,
discuss the many Palestinians who were killed only in the last few months?
Ambassador,
this is the that's
let
that's
me try
what
and
I'm calling.
respond to you.
Okay.
I've been a journalist for 30 years. I've run major national newspapers. I had a daily show at CNN for 4 years. If you actually go back and look at what I did, including, for example, a 2-year campaign against the Iraq War, which I thought was an illegal invasion of a Middle Eastern country. So please do not pigeonhole me as somebody that has no compassion for Palestinian people. But don't generalize.
You oppose the war.
I've been getting Palestinians on all week. I've been giving Palestinians platforms, including you, all week, right?
But when Israelis were harmed, you see, this is what I'm telling you. Why didn't you bring Palestinians when hundreds, thousands of Palestinians are killed by settler militias?
Ambassador, here's my answer.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, absolutely guarantee you, that if the Israelis ever carried out a terror attack of the nature we saw on October the 7th,
they are doing.
What they killed?
1948.
They pulled Holocaust survivors out of their homes and kept them hostage. They shot babies in their cribs.
Watch the terminology.
They burned families alive.
Terminology.
Deliberately going in to get civilians.
You see. Your responsibility is to really use the right terminology here.
Why? This is
Piers Morgan, with due respect, they did far worse than that. They've been doing that for 100 years plus. Been doing far worse atrocities and crimes than this. And there's no proof that these crimes took place that you're claiming and you're asking everyone to condemn. There is no evidence behind it. Maybe there was 1 or 2 people that stepped out of line, broke the law. And they'll be held accountable, of course. Because all human life matters. All human life is sacred. No one has a right to take someone else's life. So let's make that clear. There's rules of engagement in Islam. You can't kill innocent civilians. You can't even kill other creations of God. You cannot even take a target if it's going to harm a tree. A tree, not another human being. You can't chop down trees. You can't poison water. You can't take innocent civilians as captives. You can only take prisoners of war, someone that's been in a combat situation. But you have to treat them with respect and dignity because they're still your brother in humanity. There are so many rules that we need to comply by. There are so many constraints. But you are not just person. You're not a just individual. You're only thinking about your self-interest. You go to the highest bidder. If someone offered you more money, you'll be saying what they want. You're a spokesman of you're siding with a bully basically because you're too scared. You can't stand up for justice. You're a coward. I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your behavior. I can see it in your body language. You're too scared. So it's like as if someone's threatened you. Someone's holding your children hostage or something. They said if you speak against us terrorists, the Zionists, then they will punish you or they will assassinate your children. I don't know what the story. I don't know what kind of pressure you're under, but you certainly cannot be speaking as a decent human being speaking up for justice and truth because you never did ever speak up for peace and justice ever for any human beings other than people that you regard as human beings because you're being brain trashed that the only people that deserve to live are the Zionists. They don't even represent Jews. I'm telling you right now, they don't represent the Jews, the ethnic group. And Jews are not a superior race, nor is the Arabs, nor is the Africans, nor are the whites. We're all equal. What is difficult about that to understand it? God is not racist. He does not discriminate. He created us all equal. We all have our positive and negative, our traits and attributes. We all have different challenges. We're on a different test. We have a different purpose in life. But we're supposed to complete each other, cooperate, to do good in the world. Stand up for truth and justice collectively. That's the purpose, mate. What is so difficult with that? Why can't you grasp that? We can have peace, but you need to get educated. People like you, ignorant people like you, need to get educated. They need to change. They need to unlearn the bullshit that they've been fed from childhood. I don't know where you picked up this bullshit that you are regurgitating all the time. You can't even be a man enough to say, I do condemn violence against all human beings. You can easily say that. All human beings, I agree. Any form of violence against any ethnic group, I condemn. Why can't you make that statement? Today we are all Palestinians. Today we are all Gazans. We're all Palestinians today. All the decent human beings are Palestinian today. These are the bravest and best people in this generation. I totally highly respect all Palestinians. I admire them. Their courage, their bravery. They have a real cause they're fighting for. And they don't give up. They don't run away. They stand up for what they believe in. Unlike you, unlike those Nazis, unlike those Zionist terrorists perpetrating crime, these cowards, I have no respect for you. You are a real shame to the human race. I don't know what to say anymore to you. Really, I feel sick and disgusted by watching your program, Piers Morgan. Because you're a complete fool. You're a complete waste of time for me. You're a waste of space. You're not sincere. I like sincere people that admit when they're wrong. They like to learn from their mistakes. But you're a pathetic human being. Just like the ambassador of Israel. Just pathetic. Total, zippy, pathetic human being. I don't want to insult anyone, but I have to say out what I believe and what I can see. And I judge you not because of how you look, or your race, or your creed, or anything. I judged you once you opened your mouth and the garbage started to come out. Absolute garbage. And that's how I lost respect for you. Not how you dress, not about your financial status. I'm not discriminating against any of that. I'm discriminating against you right now. I'm saying to you, you're a pathetic human being because of what you said with your mouth. What you heard this gentleman's telling you and the junk that came out of your mouth. That's how I'm disrespecting you right now. I'm judging you on what you're saying and on what you're thinking in your mind, your prejudiced mind, your racist ideology that you've adopted. You don't have no respect for other human beings. What is so difficult? Just say yes or no. I condemn violence perpetrated by the Israelis. Why can't you say that? Why your short memory? Why do you have to have a short vision to only look at events from last week and say, or events from a certain angle? Why can't you look at the bigger picture? I'll let you watch the rest.
All of the words.
All that happened.
You are invoking many things here. You've just invoked terrorism. You are now invoking ISIS.
You don't dispute it was a terror attack, surely?
You are now invoking ISIS, and you spoke about...
I haven't mentioned ISIS, but for the record...
You did.
Not with you, but for the record, I do believe there's a parallel between what Hamas has done on October the 7th and ISIS.
No. Okay, you see...
You don't agree?
The Israeli... Look, what happened on the 7th of October is not condoned. We reject wholeheartedly the targeting of civilians. Our culture, our upbringing, who we are as Palestinian Christian and Muslims, what happened is non-Palestinian. How is that? And we reject it. And we want to continue maintaining the moral grounds of our cause. Very right.
Let me ask you this.
Okay, let me continue.
Yeah.
Let me continue.
Okay.
However, since the 7th of October, the first moment, Israel started preparing and putting together a huge campaign to delegitimize the Palestinian people, to link Hamas to ISIS, and then link Hamas to the Palestinian people, then link the Palestinian people to ISIS, then do the ethnic cleansing and the mass destruction and the mass murder you are following on your screen sets. Okay, that's exactly what happened. Then the international media, mainstream media, were literally following the cues. ISIS, you talked about Iraq all the time. ISIS is a group of criminals who gathered from all over, mercenaries who were there to kill and only to kill with no real agenda. You agree?
Yes.
You think Palestinians are that?
No.
Don't you think we have a political and legal case to make?
But I think
so why are we using these terms?
Ambassador,
we are using these terms to allow the Israeli war machine to kill en masse.
Let me respond.
That's why we're using.
Let me respond.
So everybody who uses these words is complicit.
Ambassador,
everyone,
let me respond.
Everyone.
Let me respond.
Okay, respond, please.
I do not believe that most Palestinian people support what Hamas did on October the 7th. I do not believe you do. I do not believe the Palestinian Authority does. So do not think for a moment that I think you're all the same. Okay. I think Hamas is a terror group who committed an act of unspeakable depravity and terrorism, and they must be held accountable. The question is, what is an acceptable way to hold them accountable? I do not believe a full ground invasion will do anything but make this 10 times worse, for the record. But let me ask you this. There are 200 hostages, I think 199 hostages being kept by Hamas. Should they be released? Yes. They include children, they include Holocaust survivors. What is your view?
Yeah, all hostages should be released. First of all, they should be kept safe and protected.
Piers Morgan, they're prisoner of war. They're competent, can't even say the word now. So upset. If they were a military personnel, they could be held as a prisoner of war, because that's at one point they were trying to kill innocent civilians. So they were in a combat situation. So they can be held as a prisoner of war. And while they're in captivity as a prisoner of war, their status actually changes from an enemy soldier to a brother in humanity. They're treated with dignity, respect, equal, and they are fed, they're clothed, they're given privacy, they're not harmed in any way. If they want to walk around, they're given space to walk, exercise, until they come to some sort of negotiation, prisoner exchange, and so on. That's allowed. But what I've seen so far is I've seen the release of innocent civilians that were mistakenly taken in as prisoners of war. I've seen video evidence, pictures, and these things are out there in the mainstream. They're out there on YouTube. Check them out. Do some research. People are being released. Even an Israeli woman, they had these militants, they entered her home and she was scared, and they said to her, don't be scared, we are Muslims. We don't harm women and children. Because that's what Islam is about, peace and total submission to the will of God. This is what Allah told us. Our Creator can't harm innocent civilians, unarmed people. You cannot go in disproportionate attack. Even during a battle, Muslims and non-Muslims at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, and this man, he lost his sword and he just spat at the Muslim. The Muslim just walked away. He walked away. And when the man got up and said, why didn't you kill me? You had every right, you could have just chopped my head with your sword. He said, if I hit you or I struck you with my sword, it would have been revenge from me. You can't even attack or retaliate based on revenge. You can only attack the person that's about you kill or be killed. So you can, out of self-defense, you can retaliate. Either he will kill you or you will kill him, because you're in direct combat. But if he's disarmed, you can't strike him, you can't harm him. You can take him as a prisoner of war. That's fine. But you can't harm him. You can't humiliate him. And even the dead bodies, you can't mutilate them. You can't disrespect dead bodies, even dead bodies of enemies. Unlike what the Israelis did, urinate on the Palestinians. They kill innocent civilians and they urinate on them. These are criminals. These are devils, demonic beings. They cannot be human, what they do to other human beings. Now, yes, it is true that I did see video evidence of some of the militants claiming they're from Hamas. I don't know if they are or not. And I don't know Hamas directly to judge them and call them terrorists or not. I don't know. I can't make a judgment on a group because I don't know. I know Zionists. I have Zionist friends and I have conversations with them. You know, peaceful conversations, try to understand their ideology, their racist ideology, and I try to discuss with them their points. I really want to understand exactly where this racism is coming from. So I know they're real. So that's why I say they are terrorists, because I know them directly, Zionists, and I know their thinking, their agenda. So that's how I don't know Hamas. Rishi Sunak can say they're a terrorist group, the British can say they're a terrorist group, but I don't know them to pass that judgment on them. I can't judge them. But ISIS is very clear. Yes, they were created by Israel. They were created by Israel, just like the boogeyman. Like Americans created Al-Qaeda. They created Bin Laden to serve a purpose. To create this enemy, to scare their, the civilians and so on. So they could take more of people's freedoms away. They can orchestrate a false flag operation like 9/11. They brought down the buildings with explosives. They claimed that it was planes that flew into buildings and they were like this imaginary villain. It's clearly a false flag operation. And more and more and more evidence every single day is coming out to prove that point. It's a high probability that it's like over 90% already. High probability is a false flag operation. So is Pearl Harbor. So is this attack as well. Because Netanyahu's office knew all about it. I feel sad for the innocent Israeli civilians. People that have Israeli citizenship. People that were born on a land, occupied land, Palestine. And their children, they're young men. They don't know anything about the history. I feel sorry for them. I feel sad when they're harmed because they're also human beings. So I'm not saying just because they hold an Israeli passport, they're an enemy. No, they're still a human being. An ignorant human being, but they're still a human being. They need to be educated. And there are a lot of law-abiding Zionists and Israeli citizens, like Miko Peled. Like so many Ashkenazis out there. I'm part Ashkenazi, so I can't really discriminate against my own, and I can't discriminate against any human being because my ethnic makeup is mixed. I have lots of different genetics from different parts of the world, from Robert Fleming to different places, even from Mecca. The family of the Prophet. I have many connections to different ethnic groups. So I'm speaking from the heart. We're all humans. We're all equal. Not about the percentage. If you're over 20% or you have 50% of this, then you deserve to live. This is racism. Of creating some pure race, so you can only marry within your race group or something like that. So you can have more of a pure race. This is nonsense. This is racism. We're supposed to intermarry and celebrate our differences and respect each other and welcome diversity and all these things. This is what we're supposed to do, Piers Morgan. So yeah, I mean, we can find a way forward. We can find a solution, but we all have to come to the table. We have to come to a common platform. let's start that we are all human beings. We all came from the same mother and father. Put down our arms. Look for a peaceful resolution. Solution is not going to come by fighting and killing or attacking and take a revenge on one another. Someone has to stop. Someone has to say, well, I'm not going to retaliate. I'm going to stop. Let's make peace. Someone has to be a man enough and stop and not retaliate. Otherwise, this killings are just going to keep going on forever. And justice has to be served. Recognition of the law, the legal system has to be respected. No one's above the law. Everyone has to comply. The law has to apply on everybody equally. It's not a different law for different people. We need to dismantle the apartheid state. No one's saying to get rid or drive certain ethnic groups into the sea or anything like that, or exterminate. This will be racism. No one does that. Jews, Muslims, Arabs, Africans, Indians, Chinese, Russian, doesn't matter. All of us are brothers and sisters, one of another. There's no discrimination. We need to respect each other, respect each other's privacy, dignity, protect each other. Even if someone's away and someone's speaking behind someone else's back, we need to defend that person in his absence. That is the beauty of Islam, the beauty of humanity. We need to love each other, respect each other, build an inclusive, integrate, not segregate, not separate. You have your life and yeah, you can have your own personal life behind closed doors. You can do whatever you want, but you don't impose your way of life on someone else. And they don't impose their way of life on you. There is no compulsion in way of life. There's no compulsory religion. You can't decide this is civilized and this is not. You can all agree crime, violence, rape, torture, abuse of power, stealing. These are crimes. How I dress is my choice. I don't have to dress in a suit. So you can say this man's a civilized man. He's wearing a tie. You don't decide. You can decide for yourself. You like wearing black, you wear black. I like wear blue, for example. That's my choice. You can't impose your choice or what you accept as good, styles, whatever, on other people. Everyone has their own tastes and styles and maybe music taste or their dreams and visions and aspirations in life. We all have different goals in life, different purpose, but the purpose should be aligned with benefiting the whole community. We should benefit and cooperate together to do good. Our aim should be one, that we're all serving God. And if you don't believe in God, at least we're serving mankind. We're trying to make the world a better place for everybody. That's why we're taking care of the environment. That's why we're looking after the trees and that kind of stuff. Conservation and preventing killing of animals and that kind of stuff, so that certain animals don't go extinct. Protecting and animals and that kind of stuff. So this is the way we're supposed to think, not think on how we destroy each other or eliminate each other, or ethnically cleanse or create another genocide. I mean, we're 2023 now. It's not like we live thousands of years ago that we're all thinking about just conquering lands and stuff like that. This is all very immature. We're very now highly educated. There's so much information all over, from books, on the internet, whatever. Anyone that wants to learn can learn and earn and grow freely. You can get free education now. It's accessible for most people. I'm not saying everybody, but most people can, participating, expanding knowledge and growing, learning new things. So that's all I have to say. Let's just hear. I think the video is about to end anyway. Don't want to take too much time. But I hope you are guided, Piers Morgan. I don't like saying negative things. I don't like this negative energy between us. I hope one day I can say you're a good man and and that kind of stuff. But I love the ambassador, you know, for the sake of Allah. He's a good man. He's sincere. He's speaking from his heart. He's saying the truth. He's honest. He's not like these people that always manipulate and play with words. He's straight to the point. Respect him, man. I respect that guy. You know, I wish I could say that I'm a Palestinian and I'm from Gaza. Gazans and Palestinians. If there was ever a superior race, I would say the Palestinians are the superior race. If there was ever, I'll say the best people in the world are the Palestinians, not anyone else. Today, because of this, we are all Palestinians, irrespective of where you're from, irrespective of your ethnicity. We're all Palestinians, and we'll all stand for Palestine. We'll all stand for Gaza and the liberation and the dismantlement of the apartheid state. That's what we all stand for. And whoever opposes that and whoever says no, they're a coward. They're the human animals. That's all I can say to them. We all should be standing up as human beings for the Palestinians. Today we are all Palestinians.
And they should be released, but hostages from all sides.
How do we get to peace here, Ambassador? Final question.
We have 5,000 hostages in Israeli jail,
Also
including children and women.
Let me ask.
We have many of them.
Okay, you made your point.
Who are rounded there without charge or trial.
Let me ask
so
you
everybody has to be released.
I've got to wrap this. The final question. How do we get to peace from here? It seems to me, after 30 years of covering this conflict, we've never been further away from peace between Israel and Palestine. How do we get to peace here?
By listening from your heart and your brain that this is a people struggle for 106 years. 106 years because it all started here. The Balfour Declaration by the British Empire, where they promised our land without consulting us, and they turned us in that 67 words into non-Jewish minorities. We were 98% of the population. We had lived there for millennia. We were the cardinal of civilization. We produced every prophet. Palestine is the birthplace of Christianity. We were literally the hub of the region, the linkage between Europe, Asia, and Africa. And all of a sudden, we are only a non-Jewish minorities. And then Britain took over our land. And not only they denied our peoplehood and nationhood in 1917, but they denied us during the mandate our statehood, because the contract with the League of Nations was Britain will come and take mandate of Palestine to prepare us and to recognize us as a state as Palestine. You know what happened in the Nakba and the mass expulsion, the Jewish militias at the time ethnically cleansed 2/3 of our nation, including including my own parents. So
I know the history. And I have great sympathy, by the way, with what happened to Palestine.
Since then, my people, 67 and the military occupation that we discussed, since then, this is a people struggle for freedom, for justice, for equality. This is a people's cry to survive.
How do we get to peace?
By full application of international rules. We did not create the post-World War II
two-state solution.
Yes, of course, Israel has to end its occupation that began in 1967. Refugee rights must be respected in accordance with international law. Two neighborly countries can get together with neighborly relations, but the Palestinian people have the right to defend themselves, and a state. We don't have an army. A state has an army. A state will do so. So occupation is the root cause of all this discussion.
I have to end it there. We've had half an hour. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much. I understand the passion. As you say, you're not an impartial person in this. I understand that. And I wish your family all the very best in Gaza. I mean that very sincerely.
Thank you.
I hope they're okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, thank you for watching my review. I'm sorry if I lost my cool there a bit. I just don't like nonsense being spread. I hope Piers Morgan, for his sake, he's still alive, and my motto is, if you're still in the game, you still have a chance to win the game. So I suggest that you start looking into Islam, you start looking into the history of Palestine, the history of the world, even the history of Jews, I often watch Jewish historians talk about the history of the Jews and the Golden Age and so on, just to learn, to expand my knowledge, expand my insight, try to understand other groups of people, other cultures, and so on. You could do the same. Anyone could do the same. Anyone could just go on the internet, search for, Jewish history, Jewish scholars, Muslim scholars, start listening in, find out what they're actually preaching. And even the Zionists, find out about the agenda. It'll make you sick. When I watch their history and what they're propagating and what they're promoting and what they believe in, it makes me sick. Because there's absolutely no way that, an agenda or a group of people, a cult, they believe in ethnically cleansing other ethnic groups and they are a superior race. That does not make sense. That's why it makes me sick. So I cannot accept it. So if their definition of terrorist, Zionists should be in the blacklist, should be recognized as a terrorist organization. They're more comparable to ISIS and Al-Qaeda because that's what they are. They're actually worse than ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Their ideas, their agenda is far worse. They're not fighting against an enemy. They're fighting against the human race. They're focused on ethnically cleansing and creating a genocide, maximizing damage. You see everybody else as sons of bitches, according to Ben Shapiro. They spread lies, disinformation. Everything they say is full of lies. 99.9% of everything they say is a lie. Maybe 0.1% could be a fact, but it's polluted with 99.9% of falsehood. And truth always outshines falsehood, Piers Morgan. We need to get back, and we can have peace. And I believe, yes, two-state can work, even one-state solution can work. We can all coexist together, like in the past. Muslims and Jews, atheists, whatever, all humans lived side by side. There was no discrimination. It didn't exist. This whole concept didn't even exist. So that's how we can make peace. We have to put down our weapons, starting from the ones that are heavily militarized, supported, funded by the British government, by the taxpayers in the Western world, by America, Canada, you name it. The funding has to stop. Stop going arming and going into an arms race and look for peaceful resolution. We could do better things with the money. We could make the world a better place. If all this money that's squandered on weapons to kill, mass destruction, if all that was channeled into health, into education, into housing the homeless, the world would be far, far better. Eradicating poverty. We could do so much. We can even invest the money in planting trees, farming, do anything. But something productive, something useful that will benefit the whole of mankind. It will make this world better for us at present and also better for the next generations to come. We can't fight hatred with more hatred. We can't fight racism with racism. We can't fight violence with violence. It's not the way. It's going to be an ever-ending, vicious, negative cycle. We'll kill each other. It's not good for us or anyone. We don't have to live with hate in our heart. We can love each other because ultimately we are all brothers. We're all brothers and sisters. We all came from the same family. We all are part of the human race. It's not like we all different from different planets. Trying to conquer planet Earth. And that's why we're fighting each other and the winner will take it all. None of this nonsense. We actually belong to the same human race. Same race. We don't have to be racist. We can end evil and once and for all. We can exterminate racism take racism out of our heart. Take ignorance out of our minds. Get educated. Start learning about other people's cultures. Give everyone a chance. Respect everyone. Respect the differences. Without to resort to violence to solve problems. We can always find a peaceful resolution. And at the very least, we can all agree to disagree respectfully. We still can be friends. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But you have to be fair and just. That's how you be a journalist. Fair and just. Impartial. But you never do that, Piers. You're always discriminating against other people. You're always speaking over people. All your guests that you bring on, you always speak over them. You don't give them a chance to express their opinion. You don't hear their opinion. You're trying to push your narrative. You're trying to push your agenda. And you're being pushed by your master. Your slave master. You're obeying them. You have to change, Piers. Please, for next interviews, try to change. Try to be a little bit neutral in your stance and hear everyone's opinion. That's fine. I'm not saying you take sides. Just listen to two sides. If you're going to ask this person one question, ask exactly the same question in the other party. Don't be biased towards people. Just treat everyone equal. Because they are equal. We're all equal human beings. There's no reason for you to take sides. Don't be like them. Because you're being tarnished with the same brush. You're the same. You're losing your reputation. You're losing respect. If anybody respects you and they hear this kind of interviews, you're only going to get respect from the terrorists, because that's what you're promoting. You're promoting terrorism. You're promoting fascism. You're promoting the Nazis on your show. You're promoting these Zionist terrorists. These evil people. These human animals. That's what you're promoting. People that are discriminating against another race group. That's sick. And for you to agree with them, that's even worse. That means you're a sellout. Because I can't believe that you are convinced with these things. I can't believe it. It's impossible for me to comprehend that you actually buy this bullshit. I don't want to offend anyone, so I do apologize. I've had a hard life. I had a hard day. And alhamdulillah, praise be to God. But I wish for everyone peace. Everyone deserves to live a good life, a happy life, pursuit of happiness, follow their passion, follow their dreams. But oh well. If you want to learn, you can contact me anytime. I'm approachable. Talk to me, share, give me some constructive criticism if I'm wrong. I've done my research. 40 plus years research into these things. I'm not a scholar in anything. I'm more of a software engineer, financial services expert, that kind of stuff, researcher. But, I've looked into different aspects. I've looked into mental health. I've looked into psychology, sociology, legal frameworks, history. I look into everything. Because I would just like to have a broad general knowledge. I like to learn about everything. I like to really dig deep and understand people's psychology, why certain people think about ending their life, why do they go through depression, how do they recover from, heartbreak and all sorts of struggles, to make me a better human being. So then I can benefit people and I can help people. So if I come across someone that's going through some sort of a mental illness or a mental struggle, I can actually assist them, give them advice, share some of my experience that I've gone through, the hardships that I've gone through in my life. And I can relate it to their situation, even if I haven't gone through the exact same challenge that they're going through. I can try to empathize with people. That's my life. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be beneficial for others. And I highly suggest that you also follow a similar avenue. Try to be better, more educated, more beneficial for yourself and others. and always love for others for what you love for yourself, and try to even love for others more than what you love for yourself. Try and enjoy and be happy when you see other people that were less fortunate than you, and suddenly they become better than you, more successful, more beneficial than you. Be happy for them. That's what I feel happy when I see other people that are more successful, that are excelling, because it makes me happy. If I played a small role in that, alhamdulillah, I'm very happy. If I can save one life, I'll feel that I'm satisfied. When my life is ending, I'll feel happy that at least I managed in my whole life to save one life. That's a life worth living, in my opinion. Saving one life. So imagine if people out there can save 2 lives, 10 lives, 100 lives, 1,000 lives, 1,000,000 lives. These are sort of people I would respect. Standing up for human life, dignity, respect, inclusion, spreading knowledge, that kind of stuff. Do something beneficial with their time on earth, time in this life, doing something beneficial, benefiting others. Not discriminating, not promoting racism and ethnic cleansing and genocide and all that nonsense that the Zionists stand for. Sick what they do. Oh well, anyway, I wish peace and love for everyone watching. And lastly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good night everyone, and bye bye for now. Take care.